Everybody to the NFL Pick'em Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The NFL Pick'em Show, as always, is powered by betting.net. Go to betting.net for your best bet for finding the online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Remember, betting.net. I'm your co-host for the NFL Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my other co-host. First up, we'll start with Dan Kornhauser, who last week, I don't know. We got a guest picker on this week, Dan. And through 17 or 16 weeks, he's only 2 games behind you. What's up, Dan?
What's up, guys? It's Wednesday. It's my favorite day of the week. I'm hoping to win.
Is that the day Mom does your underwear and laundry?
Yeah, and meatloaf. Don't forget about that. Every Wednesday, baby.
All right. And, of course, we've got 1981 national champion Steve Risley combined with Isaiah Thomas for, what was that, 26 points in the 81 championship game, Steve?
Yes, sir.
He had 21. Steve had 5.
That's all
Next
right.
up, we have a special guest picker tonight. We have Jesse Cox from Players Best. How you doing, Jesse?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Let's start off real quick. Jesse,
Hey,
you want to
Jesse,
tell us
no,
about
you're
Players
not.
Best?
You'll want to
Steve.
get off this thing in about 5
Jeez.
minutes.
I mean, only if you're here, Steve. So.
Oh, there you go. Jesse fits in right away.
Oh, Jesse, you're dead fucking meat now.
Watch
yeah,
your
we'll
language,
see how your
Steve.
picks go. We'll see.
Yeah, sorry about
yeah.
the
So
language.
I got invited on. Nice enough to invite me on here by Mike. I'm the editor-in-chief over in PlayersBest.com, and we do a lot of the same stuff that betting.net and the Grueling Truth go. So you can head over to PlayersBest.com whenever you need help with picks on any sports, right? Baseball, basketball, college football, hockey, anything you need, we cover it over at PlayersBest.com.
There you go, Steve. Before the Pick'em Show, you could get on there and get some help.
Since we're doing all that, I'd like to say a plug in for my wife who works at City View Retirement Center in Hollywood, California. It has the most spectacular view in all of Hollywood for senior assisted. So please don't go to some other down in the grade assisted living facility or senior home. Go to City View.
Hey, Steve, right now, show everybody what a City View room looks like. Go ahead and show them around your room.
Yeah, never mind. It's too hard.
All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off picking the games, which can be a little bit dangerous with the COVID. But first up, Dan, tell everybody what everybody's record was last week.
All right, so I went 6-10. Awesome. Mike, you went 10-6, and Steve went 8-8.
That is a lie. I did not go 10-6, by the way.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I was 3 games ahead of Steve. I was 11-5.
No, you weren't. I have
Yeah,
10-6.
No.
Thanks,
You want me to
Steve.
read through them to you, Dan? Let's just confirm that right now.
We're not going to confirm that right now. We're going to go on with the show.
I don't care
Steve's
how
up
long
a
this
game.
goes. Dan.
Okay, so we're going to start off with Arizona and Dallas. See, Steve gets mad then. We're going to start off with Arizona, Dallas. I believe you, Steve. Arizona at Dallas, and
So
Steve.
who does that, Dan? Who does that still put in the lead for the season?
Steve
What,
by 1
Steve?
game.
You are up by 1 game, bud.
Yeah, over the self-professed genius of all football knowledge.
No, just a genius compared to your
Karnak
dumbass.
the Magnificent
The games.
of picking games. You know, who even has help from one of the finest betting assists in all of the world, and
They
he
just
still
tell you where
can't
to
get by
bet. I
an
can
idiot
tell you
like
this.
me who just watches Colts games. That's all I do.
Yeah, that is all you do. All right, let's go. Arizona at Dallas. We're going to start off. We'll let Jesse do the honors with our first game of the week. Dallas is favored by 4.5. If you guys know of any lines that have changed in the last 3 hours, just let me know and we'll change them now. Arizona, Dallas, Jesse.
I'm going Dallas in this one. They look hot as of late, and the Arizona Cardinals look ice cold. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins has been out, and that looks like it's kind of the linchpin of their offense. And since he's gone, they're not looking good. So I'm going Dallas at home.
Yeah, I'm going with Dallas also. The Cowboys are playing well. I think Dak Prescott's underrated. And, you know, it's just DeAndre Hopkins is a huge loss. Is James Conner playing this week, Dan?
Does not look like James Conner is going to play. He did not practice on Wednesday. He is questionable. Same thing with Chase Edmonds, their other running back. He was limited in practice. He's questionable with a back injury, but he'll probably play.
Yeah, I think this is a fairly safe bet with the Cowboys. Steve, agree or disagree?
I agree. Yeah, I just talked to Randy Gregory just before you guys called. He said the team's in good spirits. Everybody's pretty healthy there in Dallas, and they don't expect, but COVID can creep up. The problem is we do this show on Wednesday, and we don't know, we got 3 days before the game for anybody just to get it. And the way this Omicron crap's going around, it's you sniff it and you get it. So, but as of right now, I think Dallas is by far on top of the NFC for the moment, along with the Rams, and I'm going to go with Dallas.
All right, Dan, agree?
Yeah, it's a clean sweep across the board, boys. I'm going to go Dallas as well. All the reasons you said. Dallas is on fire, and we'll circle back to them later on after when I'm making picks.
No, we won't. All right, next up, Kansas City at Cincinnati. The Bengals are 5.5-point underdogs, Steve.
Let's see. Wow.
What was the spread on the Dallas game? Dallas minus 4.5?
Yeah.
Right.
Minus 4.5 at Cincy. Wow, this is a very tough game to call. Spread is minus 5.5.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me think this here just for a second. I won't be long because Jesse seems to be real sharp on what he's doing. I don't want to look at
Everybody here is except for you and Dan. Let's go. Make your pick.
Okay, I'm thinking about it. I don't think Cincy's got enough to cover the hot KC Chiefs right now. I'm going to give up to 5.5 and take Kansas City in this one.
All right, Jesse, what do you think?
I'm going KC as well. Not only are they on like a win streak, but they're 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games. So even if they lose, I think they're gonna win this one and cover it.
All right, Dan.
I'm going to go with Kansas City as well. Looking at the COVID tracker, Cincinnati has Jermaine Pratt on there. That's the only relative name of note that's on the COVID list for them. And KC doesn't have anybody besides their kicker, but it wasn't a big deal last week because I'm pretty sure he missed last game. But the big thing is I want to see if Clyde Edwards-Helaire with a shoulder injury is going to play in this game. He's week to week with a shoulder. He missed practice today. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. But I am going to go with Kansas City. They're red hot. Everything's clicking. Mahomes looks right. But it should be a really good game. Cincinnati's for real, man.
Yeah. Speaking of red hot, man, I mean, Cincy is hot as well, especially after last week.
I'm going to take the Bengals, and it's not because I'm a homer, Jesse, because everybody will tell you here. I picked against them when they played the 49ers a couple weeks ago. I just don't buy the Kansas City hype right now. I don't think the offense looks as great as what it did. I think they're going to score plenty of points here because the one thing Kansas City does have that the Bengals have difficulty with is a tight end who can make plays. Mark Andrews even made plays last week for the Ravens in that 86-0 beating. And when I look at this, though, the team probably closest resembling the Bengals over the last 5 weeks is the Chargers. That was a game played in L.A., that was a game that ended up being a 6-point win in overtime for the Chiefs. I don't think this is the Chiefs juggernaut we saw 2 years ago that ran through and won the Super Bowl. I'm not even saying the Bengals will win the game, but I'm telling you this, and these guys always make fun of me. Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in football. They'll score at least 30 to 38 points. So what do you think of that, Jesse?
I think Joe Burrow is a great quarterback, but I don't think he's the best quarterback in football, especially not right now.
Okay. Well, you're wrong, Jesse, but that's all right because everybody gets to be wrong. That's why we let Steve on the show. Steve,
hey, Mike, I want to throw one thing, Mike. I don't think this is even the same KC team that played the Chargers 3 weeks ago. This team has consistently gotten a heck of a lot better every week.
Have they? Who
did
they
play? Yeah, their defense has too.
Their defense, they've stepped up their game. Mahomes is clicking. He's finding receivers. He's getting it up. You can pull your stats out and go ahead and pull them out.
I'm not pulling any stats out.
But the fact is, the Chiefs look pretty well unbeatable right now. Now that's not to say no.
Wait a second, Steve. Let me ask you this: do you know when the Chiefs played the Chargers?
No.
Yeah.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Since then, 2 weeks ago.
Since then, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 36-10. I hate to tell you this. Well, the Kansas City beat Pittsburgh 36-10. That's their only win.
Okay.
All right. So where is the fact that they've gotten? No, they haven't. They look better.
I took
the Steelers are
Pittsburgh
terrible.
game.
The Steelers are terrible.
All right, let's go. We all made picks. Move on, Mike.
Why would I move on? Because you wanted to have a conversation. I just asked you.
I made a statement.
To tell me. Yeah. So verify your statement. What's your statement? It says they're playing better because they beat the Steelers. You realize 36-10, the Steelers would have loved only lost by that much to the Bengals.
There's a thing somebody like you wouldn't understand.
Really?
It's just
well,
called
I understand
touch
assholes.
and feel.
Yeah.
Touch and feel. And right now, I just feel that the Chiefs, looking at them, watching them play, are just linking up together. The gears are meshing much better than they've been. And it's gotten better progressively every week they've played while they're on this streak and while they're on this tangent.
All right, Steve.
It's not a crazy notion. Vegas seems to agree with Steve. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs are currently the favorite.
I would say right now the Chiefs are playing
Wait
the
a
best
second.
football in the
Let's
AFC.
go to this real quick. Jesse. All right. We're going to go with you, the expert here. You can find Jesse at playersbest.com. I know it made you uncomfortable when I said expert. I saw you lean back. But
I was flattered. Yeah.
Vegas, when they set an odd, is basically to get equal money on both sides. They're not really picking a winner, correct?
Correct. And if anything, nowadays they're tracking bets. They're seeing where the money's coming in, and they're adjusting lines based on that. If that makes sense.
You got that, Dan? So I think this. I think the line is set very good because the line, if it was 7, I would feel really comfortable taking the Bengals. At 5.5, I don't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And the reason I say that is, it's just like the Chargers game where the game goes to overtime. That's 6. The difference between 5.5 and 6, I think, is huge. Just like the difference between getting 3 and 3.5. All right, next up. Dan, you'll get this, toughie. The Jacksonville Jaguars against the New England Patriots. The Patriots by 15.5.
15.5 is a pretty big line, but Jacksonville's atrocious. James Robinson's out for the year now. The issues keep piling up there. New England is coming off a game where Buffalo didn't punt, and that's the first time in Belichick's career as a head coach that a team did not punt against the Patriots. So I'm sure he's going to want to reestablish their dominance at the top and blow these clowns out by 3 touchdowns.
All right, Jesse, agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. There's that horrendous stat of Bill Belichick versus rookie quarterbacks. And yeah, I mean, I don't think the question here is whether or not the Patriots defense is going to show up. It's whether or not the Patriots offense is going to show up, but I'm still going Patriots.
All right, yeah, I'm the same way. I hate giving these points, but the Jaguars are an absolute mess. I think the Patriots are in trouble, though. Being one-dimensional is not going to work out too well for them when they go to the playoffs. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, normally 15.5 points, I wouldn't take any. That's a lot of points to give up, but it's the Jags. I got to go with the Patriots.
And Mike, I don't want to dilly-dally on this too much, but have you guys talked about, I think probably the best thing that's happened to Trevor Lawrence was probably Urban Meyer, because Lawrence just hasn't looked good. And Urban Meyer kind of covered that flack because nobody was talking about Lawrence when Meyer was there.
Yeah, and I think Lawrence is a guy that has a lot of mechanical issues when you watch him throw the football. I mean, the release is kind of slow. I think this. I don't think Patrick Mahomes would have been as great if he goes somewhere other than with Andy Reid. I mean, in Mac Jones in New England, perfect match. This was not a perfect match. Hopefully they'll give him a good head coach, but I still think there's a lot of the Trevor Lawrence issues here that people don't really understand. I don't think that he is a Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, John Elway, no-brainer great player from the get-go. I think there's issues here with him, as there are with most quarterbacks even drafted in the first round, and a lot of times the biggest issue is where you end up.
How much of those issues do you chalk up to Urban Meyer just derailing this kid's career early? And how much do you attribute it to that team just being atrocious on the field?
How about this?
They have nothing on offense, nothing at all.
If a guy is Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers, no matter what situation you put them in, they're not going to look that bad. The only problem is there's only a handful of those guys in the world. You could shake your head, no, Dan. But the fact of the matter is, what Jacksonville coach would Trevor Lawrence have been successful with in the history of the Jaguars?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, yeah, Peyton Manning. Yeah, I was going to say, didn't he have the record? Doesn't he still have the record for most interceptions?
Yeah, that's my point. And look, but he also, wait a second. Trevor Lawrence is a guy who's thrown, 500 passes with 9 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning that year also threw 30 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody thought this guy's a bust the way he played. They just thought that he needed to learn the game a little bit more and get with. And the other thing is this: Jim Mora was not the best quarterback for him either, starting out. And really, people forget because I heard everybody when who was it that was shut? Tom Brady was shut out the other week. Everybody, well, Peyton Manning never got shut out. Well, he did. He got beat 41-0 by the Jets in the playoffs in 2000. The year after, they were the number 1 seed, and he got beat by the Titans. I think getting Tony Dungy in there was, and I'm not a huge Tony Dungy fan, but I think he was a lot better coach than Jim Mora for a young quarterback because Mora was an emotional coach. If you've got a rookie quarterback and you have an emotional coach, that could be the worst thing that ever happened to him. With Dungy, you had a guy that was an even keel coach that didn't go overboard good or bad. That's what a rookie quarterback needs. That's why Andy Reid was so successful with Patrick Mahomes. Because when he has a bad game, Rex Ryan, Rex Ryan, Mark Sanchez. Mark Sanchez never was given the opportunity to play quarterback. Because I remember he went to 2 straight championship games, and every interview you heard with, head coach Ryan was, well, as long as Sanchez doesn't lose us the game. You can't have an emotional coach that's, as soon as you have a coach that says, well, all he's got to do is not lose us the game, you're no longer a quarterback. Because if you're a quarterback that thinks we're running the ball because nobody thinks I can win you the game, how's he ever going to develop?
That's true.
But,
Yeah.
All right. Now, I guess we still got to pick the Jaguars, Patriots. Who was up on that one?
I think we already hit it. Yeah, I think
Everybody
we
already
hit it.
hit it. Everybody
All right.
already picked.
Next up, interesting game. Whoever wins this game, believe it or not, still has a shot at the AFC North if the Bengals lose to the Chiefs. The Cleveland Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steve, the Steelers are favored or 3-point underdogs.
I'm going with the Browns.
All right, Dan.
Pittsburgh's +3, right?
Pittsburgh is +3.
I think the Steelers are done for the year.
All right. Have you seen Cleveland lately? Go ahead, Dan.
I think they're right there with them.
Yeah, they're both done, but whichever one wins, if Kansas City beats Cincinnati, one of them will be back
Goes
alive.
in the first place.
Yeah. Dan?
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this one. I feel like Pittsburgh, like you said, whoever wins this game has got a better shot in the division. I still think that should be Cincinnati's at the end of the year. But I don't know. Something with Pittsburgh's telling me to go with them. They do have a lot of talent on offense. It's just, can they keep it together? And is TJ Watt healthy?
Yeah, and the thing that sticks out to me, though, this could be Big Ben Roethlisberger's last home game. Big Ben against the Browns' career is 25-2-1. And I think Pittsburgh is capable of grinding out games. Baker Mayfield's having issues. It's in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. I think Pittsburgh is just a more mentally tough team. I don't think they're as talented as Cleveland, but Cleveland's got issues right now. Jesse?
Yeah, I think this is the marquee Baker Mayfield game. Have you guys seen the cycle of Baker Mayfield meme? You guys know what I'm talking about there? So there's a great cycle of Baker Mayfield. I'll have to send it to you guys, where it's play great, play bad, call out the haters, beat inferior opponent, play great. And he kind of just goes in that cycle. And so we're right now at the calling out the haters and beating the inferior opponent part of that, which is Pittsburgh. They have one of the worst defenses in the league. And I don't even think Cleveland has to play well. They'll just hand it off the whole time. They have a good run game and they can do that. And so I don't think it's going to be a great game, but I'm taking the Browns.
Jesse, I believe they both suck. I'm just taking the points.
They do both suck. Yeah.
I'm just taking the points. Did everybody pick that one? All right.
Yep.
All right, next up, we've got the Raiders.
So, Mike,
and the Colts.
you're taking the Steelers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to, but I don't want to take either one of them. So
yeah.
I'm just taking the Steelers because they're at home and I get the points, and I do think this is probably Big Ben's final game in Pittsburgh. Next up, we got
Mike. The only thing I'd say to you is this: is I've heard you all season long talk about you think Nick Chubb's one of the best running backs in the league.
I think he might be the best.
Okay, and then I think as long as the Browns got Nick Chubb, they can grind out games too. If they can keep Nick Chubb out of protocol and keep him healthy.
Well, remember
that to me balances out playing at Three Rivers or whatever that stadium's called now.
Yeah, but I also think Cleveland's offensive line, because of injuries, is not nearly what it was at the start of the season.
But Nick Chubb's that good that that offensive line, like we saw with Jonathan Taylor last week against the Cardinals, he got a lot of those 106 yards Taylor did without an offensive line.
It took like 28 to 30 carries, too.
Yeah, it sure did. I understand
That's
that, but
not an impressive game.
No, it was not.
And we'll talk about who should be the MVP after this. So
yeah. All right. Okay. I just want to make that point. That's all. It's a tough game to call right here.
All right. Next up, I do like the Baker Mayfield cycle.
Yeah, it's great, right?
I like that.
Good. Hold on here. We can share that too.
Can you? Yeah, pull it up, man, because it sums up Baker Mayfield's career.
That's
Okay.
great.
Where's the part where he changes boots with Alice Cooper?
I'll tell you what, the most annoying thing about Baker Mayfield are those damn commercials, especially right after he throws a pick and then they've got a commercial with him and Alice Cooper.
It's perfect, though, because it's home with Baker Mayfield, which is exactly where he'll be come playoffs.
Yeah. There's the Baker Mayfield cycle. Yeah, I like that, especially the top one. Play like shit.
Yeah, you have to play like shit, criticized by media, underdog mentality. That's exactly where we are right now. So now he's going to beat Pittsburgh and then call out the doubters, and then we'll be back up top again.
Well, according to Jesse, I'm looking pretty good right now.
Nobody would ever say that, Steve.
No, I agree. Not even my wife.
All right. Yes, she would, Steve. She married your dumb ass. Next
37 years ago.
Next up. You weren't that attractive then. Next up, we got the Raiders at the Colts. The Colts are favored by 6.5. Has that line changed at all today, Jesse or Dan?
The last I saw was 7.5, so I'm not sure.
7.5?
We're playing off of what our line says. Well, no, I mean, that's how we played it all year. Why are we going to change it now?
Well, because if it changes, we do change it before we pick it. And now, actually, I've got on one, I've got 6.5. The other 7.5. Just so Steve is happy, we're going to go with 6.5. Steve is obviously going to pick the Colts because he didn't want to give 7.5.
That's right.
Steve, you taking the Colts?
Yeah, I said I'm a homer. I was not going to bet against the Colts the rest of the year, although I think the Colts will win this game with or without Carson Wentz. I think if they get the bulk of their offensive line back, it appears Quentin Nelson's coming back. Ryan Kelly should be back this week. I mean, he's not a physical injury with him, and God bless his soul. Take all the time you need to recover from losing a child. But hopefully he's back, and this is an offense that's predicated itself on the ground game most of the season anyway. So I don't see Carson Wentz being a huge loss for the Colts. I mean, I'd certainly rather have him in there than not have him in there. But, I think at 6.5, the Colts can still cover that. They're playing their last game at home. The fans have been really good in Indianapolis lately. And this team's still a juggernaut. They've won, 8 of their last 9? I think it is. Something around that song and dance. So, and the Raiders just looked inept last time I saw them play. They did not look very well organized at all. So I think the Colts can eke this out, whether they can cover the spread or not, which is what we're actually picking. So, but I'm going to take the Colts. I'm not betting against the Colts, so I'll take the spread to absorb the Colts.
All right, Jesse?
Yeah, I think I'm less worried about Carson Wentz than I am about Darius Leonard, who really leads that defense there. And he's still on the COVID list, may or may not play.
Well, I had a question for you, Jesse.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Maybe you guys could answer this. Mike, you too. And Dan, all three of you guys, because you're the gurus. The federal government changed the law that said now only 5 days. And if they had no symptoms, whether they still had COVID or not, they come out and can reenact with society. Has the NFL adopted those rules yet?
They have.
And said, so in 5 days, if neither Wentz nor Leonard are showing any symptoms, whether they've got COVID or not, they're playing.
Well, they would have to test negative, right?
But they have changed to I saw it today, at least on like a Chiron.
No, it doesn't. Mike, it doesn't matter whether they test negative or not. They don't test you.
I thought it was only if they weren't vaccinated.
Yeah, they got it. It's a Scouts honors kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a Scouts honors thing. Yeah,
which
they
is
don't
what it
test
should be. All right.
But so are we to assume then, because Leonard suffered, he was out last week, so he's back. I would say one way or another, let's all say Leonard's back. Do we agree to that? based on the rules?
Well, we don't know because we don't know if he's sick.
Yeah, we
Well,
don't know.
nobody's
They're
doctor.
not going to test him.
As of right now, Leonard is still on the COVID list, along with Wentz, Braden Smith, and a few other key guys.
All right, so that rule that Biden put into place, 5 days, if you have no symptoms, you're back in. That does not apply to the NFL.
Yeah, but Steve, if he's sick, he's probably not
Right,
gonna
if
play
he's
anyways.
sick.
But we don't know that, Steve.
Right, but I'd rather say I'd love to have that option, being a Colts fan, and say
I
he
think
may
that
still
option
test positive, but he has
I
no
think that
symptoms.
option is there.
No runny nose. He can taste everything. He's got no symptoms whatsoever. Let him play.
I think that option's there, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's certainly possible.
I think they both will play before,
Yeah,
unless one
I
of them's
think
sick.
both of them
that
are
we
going to
don't
be in
know
the
about.
game.
All
Although,
right.
what do you guys make of the fact that the Colts were toying with bringing back Phillip Rivers? Oh my God!
Yo, yes,
He was
Steve.
good
I was going to
last
ask
year.
you
Didn't they go
about that,
13-3?
Huh?
Didn't they go like 13-3 last season with the Colts?
Yeah, but that
11
guy
and
had.
5, I think.
I mean, come on. What's he
Oh,
done?
sorry, yeah, 11-5.
It's been a year now. He sat out of football.
It would be better than what the alternative is for them.
Well,
Yeah,
again, I think
Sam
as long as
Ehlinger?
you got that
Ehlinger.
offensive line.
In Texas?
SMU.
What?
Yeah, Sam Erlinger.
Yeah, Erlanger's from Texas. But yeah, as long as you got that offensive line and you got Jonathan Taylor, you're 75% of the Colts offense right there. And if you get the defense and get Leonard back, I think the Colts will be able to handle the Raiders, is what I'm saying.
All right, I think this. I'm taking the Colts just because the Raiders' run defense has been terrible all year. So if Jonathan Taylor wants to be in the running for the MVP, this is the game to really make a statement.
Yeah, good
Sefton's
point.
listening, watching. Sefton, always good to have you there. What do you think, Jesse? Did you already pick us? Or Steve
Not
screwed
really.
us up by asking a question, didn't he?
I apologize.
It was a good question, Steve. Don't worry.
It was a good question, yeah. So I think Leonard's going to be back. I think Wentz will be back. And then Waller, the tight end for the Raiders, is out now. He just got put on the COVID list early today, so I don't think he's going to be there. So all that is to say I'm taking Indianapolis as well. I think without Waller there as the kind of security blanket for Carr, they're not going to be able to put up enough points. So especially at 6.5. I had him at 7.5, but yeah, I'll definitely take the Colts at 6.5.
All right, Dan.
I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts as well. As long as Taylor gets 100 yards rushing, this team's undefeated. I see no reason why he doesn't get at the very least 100 this week.
All right, next up, we've got a classic matchup. If this was 1961, the Giants against the Bears. Actually, the Giants and Bears played for the NFL Championship in 1963. Who won that game, Dan?
The Bears.
You're right. What was the score, Steve?
What game are we talking about?
The 1963 NFL Championship game.
13-7.
You were close. It was 14-10. Jesse, who was the quarterback for the Giants?
For the Giants,
Come on, Jesse.
drawing a
Come on,
blank.
Jesse.
Come on, Jesse.
Got to be Y.A.
Give me a hint.
Tittle.
Give me a
Oh,
hint.
hell,
Why
Steve
Tittle?
Risley got it.
All right.
Gotta
Risley
be
got it.
Y.A. Tittle.
Yeah.
I was going to say Tittle. Holy hell.
Yeah, of course you were, Dan.
I was going to say
You had-
Tittle.
Man,
Yeah,
you
totally,
had no clue.
totally.
Yeah.
That's the only name that popped into my head.
You've
I don't know
never
much
even
about
heard of
old
Wyatt
players like
Tittle.
that.
All right, Sefton is taking the Raiders because of Uncle John Madden. All right, Jesse. What the hell game are we on? We're on the Giants and the Bears. Jesse, we'll give it to you first.
Unfortunately, we are on the Giants and the Bears
The
first.
Bears are favored by 6. Who would have ever thought that?
And I don't know
Biggest
why,
injury.
because I think they've shut down Daniel Jones for the year. But part of me thinks that Mike Glennon is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones is, or at least is, yeah. I mean, he's more consistent. So I don't know why the Bears are getting. What do you have it at 6? I had it 5.5. Whatever. So yeah, this one's a tough one for me to pick. They both suck. I'm gonna go with the Giants though.
Okay. I'm going to take the Bears. I just like David Montgomery. It's the only thing I like here. But also, is Nick Foles starting?
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Nick Foles,
I'm
as
taking
of
Nick
now, is in
Foles.
line to start.
Nick Foles is a lot better than Glennon. They're playing in Chicago. You got David Montgomery. I think the Giants are an absolute mess. I'm going to take the Bears and give the points. It scares the hell out of me because it's the Bears and I'm giving points. But that's what I'm going to do, Dan.
I am going to go with the Giants in this one. 6 is just too rich for
That makes me feel
Chicago.
much better, and you just ruined Jesse's night. Go ahead.
Sorry, Jesse. But
It's all
no,
good.
I'm going to go with the Giants. I don't trust Chicago at all. Foles ain't nothing special.
He
let's
ain't.
be
He did
honest.
win a Super Bowl, didn't he?
I don't care. He's nothing special right now. And
He looked pretty
I don't
good
know.
last week.
He did look pretty good last week.
Hey, Dan, were you homeschooled?
I was not homeschooled. I
Okay, 'cause
went
ain't
through
nothing.
this
Ain't
great
nothing
state's
is a
public
double
school
negative.
system.
When you say Foles ain't nothing,
Wait a second,
that's
Steve.
a double
Wait
negative.
a second, Steve. Why did you
All right.
ask if he was homeschooled?
Take your English lessons
Steve,
right and
Steve.
learn your grammar.
Steve, why did you ask if he was homeschooled?
Well, because that means his parents probably don't know it either.
You're a
Reading is for
dumbass.
rich folk.
I hate to tell you this, but you know what? The high school football team I coached is 70% homeschool. 7 of our 11 players are getting scholarships to play college football, and the grade point average on the team is 3.4.
Woo!
And also, I hate to tell you this, the graduation rate for homeschool kids to enter college is like 87%. For regular kids to go to stupid-ass school that the government runs, the graduation rate's 47%.
No, you know how they're fixing that in California now, Mike? They are legitimately doing away with D's and F's. You will no longer get a D or an F in a class. No, I kid you not. The new
Now, it doesn't
superintendent
surprise me. It's another
No,
state.
he came in.
Why are we
Yeah,
talking
but-
about a foreign country?
If you get a D or an F in a
Yeah.
homeschool class, man, that's pretty bad. Though.
They said
No, that just
basically,
means your parents are honest.
they will no longer give students D's and F's, and colleges are now going to do away with the SAT scores.
What?
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, answer me this, though. Who do you got, the Giants or the Bears? Bears -6.
I got the Bears.
The Bears. All right.
Bears.
Next up, we've got the Buccaneers at the Jets. I got this at plus 13.5 for the New York Jets. I hate any time I got to give more than 10 points in an NFL football game. But I don't know that this is an NFL game. I think it's an NFL game for half the team. I'm taking Tampa Bay. Jesse?
I am unfortunately going to take the New York Jets. Not that I think they're a good team. I don't think they have a snowball's chance in hell of actually winning. But with all of the injuries and all the guys that Tampa Bay is missing, they have had trouble covering these really large spreads all year. So, yeah, I don't see them covering 13.5 and win by 2 touchdowns.
See, they did just beat the Panthers 32-6.
Those were the Panthers.
And these are the Jets. Is there a difference?
I think there is, right? I mean, at least the Jets have a quarterback that will be playing for all 4 quarters.
Who?
Mormon Mahomes, right? The 2nd overall pick here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Zach Wilson is never going to be an NFL starting quarterback. He's not.
I mean, he is right now, and
He's
he
not.
will be probably
He's not
next
on
year,
an
but
NFL team.
I don't think
by
he's gonna
next
be
year
great.
he'll be
Yeah.
gone.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think he'll be there still next year. I think he'll start at least half the season next year because I don't see them drafting another quarterback. And I don't see them winning. I just don't see them losing by 2 touchdowns.
See, I think the issue here, the reason, and I feel you too with Tampa Bay, but Tom Brady's there, which means you're getting at least 24. And I think this Buccaneers defense over the last month has gotten progressively better. And if they continue to do that, even without healthy players, they're going to be a handful. And it's still Tom Brady, no matter who he's. I think Tom Brady could take us 4 out on a field, except for maybe Dan, because he's a sissy. He's never played football, let's face it. And we could put up
I did in high
27 points
school.
on the Jets. You did not.
I did.
You didn't.
I'm an athlete, baby, and I ran track in college.
Dan.
Woo.
Dan.
Shot put?
Dan.
Actually, 100 meter, 200 meter.
Oh, shit,
Damn.
man. Yeah, you are fast.
Dan.
I
No,
was.
he's fat, though. What the hell
Yeah.
happened, Dan?
I like cookies, beer, and pizza. That's what happened.
Cookies, beer, and pizza. All right. Dan, what do you think? Buccaneers, Jets.
This is tough, man. This is tough
Yeah.
because while you guys were talking and making your picks and stuff, I was looking through the injuries and COVID and all sorts of stuff. Tampa Bay is is rough right now. They have Shaq Barrett, JPP, Richard Sherman, Antoine Winfield. None of them practiced today. Antonio Brown didn't practice. They're going to be without Jamel Dean, Sean Murphy Bunting at corner, Mike Evans at receiver. All those guys are currently on the COVID list, and Evans probably wasn't going to play anyway because he's injured. And when these corners are out, Tampa Bay, coincidentally, doesn't do well. I don't know what the correlation is there. I think Tampa Bay wins this game, but are they going to win by 2 touchdowns? In a game where they don't care. They just don't want anyone to get hurt. They might as well treat it like a preseason game. Go up by 10 points and coast, run the ball from there. I'm going to go with the Jets. I'm going to go with the Jets in this one, even though I think Tampa wins.
All right, remember this. Zach Wilson can always make it, so the Buccaneers don't even have to score on offense.
You're not wrong.
Sefton, here you go. Here's Sefton. He says, Dansane Bolt.
I wish.
It's a good one.
All right, Steve, what do you think?
Well, listening to Dan throw in the injury list with the Bucs and the mentality of the Bucs, and I kind of agree. Why get anybody else hurt?
Bruce Arians out too now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I think he. Well, I like the comment that Dan said for the Bucs. It's like just win the game and don't worry about spreads and just try not to get anybody hurt. And they don't care. The Bucs aren't going to care if they win by 2, 4, 6, 8, or 12, or 16, or 15 and a half, whatever it is. So I like that comment. I like that mentality. But I'm going to take a different mentality here and just say I'm going to play defensive gambling here. As long as Mike takes Tampa Bay, if I take Tampa Bay, I can't lose another point to Mike on this game. So I take Tampa Bay.
You also can't make up a point, Steve.
Yeah.
I don't need to. I'm in the lead.
Oh, okay.
And,
Never
yeah,
mind.
but see, this is the thing. This show's been going on for like 7 years, and I've never lost. And there's actually never been a time where before the playoffs I wasn't in first place. Or that I was in first place.
There's history possibly in the making. So I'm doing everything I can to ensure that we get in a position to affect that history.
Yeah, so you're being a bitch. All right,
No,
next
I'm just
up,
playing
we've got the
defensive
Atlanta Falcons at the Buffalo Bills. Steve, Buffalo's given 14 points to Atlanta with Matt Ryan.
Atlanta at Bills. Bills are minus 14 and a half.
Yeah,
This
Or
is a
14.
no-brainer. This is Bills all the way.
that's a lot of points.
This is Atlanta going to play outdoors in Buffalo in the frozen tundra of Niagara Falls, whatever else is up there. The Atlanta's just like fairly pathetic all year long. I don't have no disrespect for Matt Ryan.
Wait a second. Were you homeschooled, Steve?
No, I was not actually.
Because you just used a double negative.
Okay, well, that's colloquialism. I'm capable of doing that.
Woo!
Yeah, you can't even spell colloquialism.
I don't need to.
Come.
I've got spell check. I don't need to spell it.
There you go.
Idiot.
I'm an idiot, but you're the one that ripped somebody for a double negative, and then right after that, you used one.
Yep, that's the power I have.
You have no power. Hey, Risley,
Anyway.
the cops are coming. You better duck.
I think that's me.
What did your kids do now, Goodpaster?
Huh? They beat up kids
What
that
did
act like you.
Goodpaster's kids do now?
Well, they both make about $25 an hour, and they're 19
got on
and
their-
21 years old.
They got on their four-wheelers or ATVs and started doing lawn jobs in the neighbor's yard again.
Why is that funny?
Because they did it. It's hilarious.
They did?
Yeah. And I think
What
you
are
had to
you
go down to the
talking
police station and bail them out, didn't you?
Bail them out.
Yeah, something like that. That was 3 years ago.
I never had to
Maybe
bail
on
my
your
kids out
memory.
for anything. You're probably thinking of your kids.
No,
Oh, wait, you only have one.
I only have one.
You can
Thank
only
God.
you can only figure out how to
Anyway,
do it once.
I think the Bills, this is the must
There,
win for them.
Sefton's got it. I'm a savage. Is
Yes.
that a good thing or a
Mike
bad
is
thing?
savage. I agree.
It's a good
Mike
thing.
is a
Great
savage.
thing.
Okay.
Anyway, I think everything goes toward the Bills in this game. They've got to win. When they win, they tend to win big against a team like Atlanta. So I'm taking the Bills in 14. I'm done.
Yeah. I'm taking the Bills in 14 also. Dan?
I'm taking Buffalo as well. They just got a bunch of guys off the COVID list. They are getting reinforcements at the right time. And Josh Allen is trying to put up some MVP numbers at the end of the year to boost his stock. I'm going to go Buffalo.
All right, Jesse?
Yeah, I will say the Falcons aren't as shitty as people think they are. They're 7-8. They're only 2 wins behind Buffalo. But
Yeah.
I'm still going Buffalo.
Yeah, but it's also who they beat because
Yeah, I
Atlanta
agree.
hasn't beaten.
That was my
teams.
question. Who is the
All right,
Falcons
Sefton
beat?
had a good point here. Maybe Steve's talking about Andy Reid bailing out his sons.
Well, where Mike got his idea from.
Oh, not
I
wrong.
never had to bail out my sons for anything.
Okay.
We stay in our house with our coon
Maybe
dog,
they
our
could
pit
come and
bull, and
bail
our
you
guns. All right, next up, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Redskins. Philadelphia is set up here to possibly make the playoffs now, Dan. What do you think? Eagles, I think that should be +4 with Washington.
And Mike, can I say something real quick? That would be the Washington football team, not the Redskins.
They're the Redskins.
What's
Okay.
what's the line?
I still think the Chargers play in San Diego and the Raiders are in Oakland, Steve. I live in the 80s. You've been explaining this.
You know what?
many times.
I'm with you 110%. I just
Well,
wanted
then,
to.
you know what? Just because you use double negatives doesn't mean you have to bust
We
my
have a
balls
guest
about
on
something
from
that
another
innocent.
betting site.
Go ahead,
we don't
Dan.
want him to be able to take
Let's,
that back and say we're a bunch of
I
derelict.
think it's 4. I think it's +4 for the football team.
Washington.
Yeah,
plus
it's
4?
+4 for the football team. Did I say Redskins? I haven't said that all year either.
Yeah, you run that back. You did say Redskins.
Well, I believe you.
Because I wrote Redskins down.
Well, hell, when we talk about the Chargers, I always have to stop myself from saying San Diego.
I
Dan,
do
you going to
too.
pick the game, or are you just going to let us babble on?
I'm just gonna let you guys keep babbling. With the Eagles, I'm looking at their injury report. Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders did not practice. Sanders is definitely out this week. Jalen Hurts was limited with an ankle injury, so we'll see how things pan out for them. And on the other side, Washington only had a couple guys out. William Jackson, the third with a calf injury. He did not practice. Same thing with Sam Cosmi. Antonio Gibson and Curtis Samuel were limited, but they practiced, which is great because I know both of them have been injured, and I know they need all the help they can get. But I am going to go with Philadelphia because even if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, Gardner Minshew will play, and that means this offense will still be humming. With or without Miles Sanders, they'll be fine. I'm going to go Philly.
I think Minshew's better, too, by the way. But
I know you
Dan,
do. That's why I said it.
Dan, Washington football team, +4.
I'm going to go Philly.
All right. Jesse.
Yeah, give me Philly as well. I agree with most of the stuff that Dan said.
All right, Steve.
I agree with Jesse and Dan. I'll take the Eagles.
All right, Sefton. I'm going to agree with Sefton, who says the Eagles are flying over the team in a close game. The 4-point spread does worry me a little bit just because of the players that are out. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to side with you guys. We'll roll with that. Next up, what has now become a huge game, the Miami Dolphins at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are favored by 3.5 points, Steve.
Dang, I get burned on the damn Dolphins every time I bet on them one way or another. I can't win. I mean, obviously, I'm rooting for Miami, although I don't think the Colts have a rat's ass chance in hell of winning the division. But I got to go with Tennessee in this game. They have shown moxie through thick and thin. Tannehill, who I was counting on collapsing, just has not collapsed. I mean, he's not in the same boat as Allen or any of the big MVP candidates right now, Mahomes, those guys. But that guy has not fallen apart with the loss of Derrick Henry. And that team has hung together well. They're a well-coached football team. And they're playing at home. This is a critical game for them to hold on to that divisional lead. Looking at what the Colts are doing and what they're playing, this is a big game for Tennessee just to breathe a little bit last game of the season. So I think you're going to come through, and the 3.5 doesn't scare me, so I'm going to take Tennessee.
Well, see, I don't understand how you say Ryan Tannehill has played well.
I was going to say the same thing.
He hasn't. Not that he has played well.
He's played horrible.
He just hasn't puked on himself.
Yeah, he has.
Awful.
Okay. All right. Well,
He has thrown 5 touchdown
they've
passes.
come back
and
with
7,
some big wins in the last
5
4 or 5
touchdown
games.
passes and 7 interceptions in his last.
I know, but
1,
he moves
2,
the
3,
chains,
4,
Mike,
5,
and you know
6.
that's what a quarterback's job is to do.
No, a quarterback's
Just move the
job is
chains.
to win the game, and he
You
sometimes
do that
does
by moving the chains.
Really, Steve? You do it by scoring points.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, when you look at
I made
this,
my
you've got a
pick. I opened the
quarterback.
door for you, Mike. Make your pick.
No, you didn't open any door for me. But Ryan Tannehill this year has thrown for over 300 yards twice. I mean, I think
Okay.
it's hard to say that he's really played well. I think he has puked on
All right,
himself.
I retract the
I think
statement that
this
he's
is a
played well.
well-coached team.
He's done
Okay.
his job. He has kept that team winning without Derrick Henry. I thought the Titans would collapse when Henry went down. Now, I didn't think the Colts would win it then, but had he collapsed like I thought he was going to, the Colts would be sitting in first place in the AFC South right now. But they're not because the Colts have puked on themselves, but because the Titans have just played good enough football to win these kinds of games.
Yeah, and to play devil's advocate here, not only has he been missing Derrick Henry, he's been missing most of his wide receivers for a big chunk
That's
of
the
the
biggest
season,
issue.
too.
That's
And
right.
they keep winning. This team finds a way to win.
Well, I will say that for the 49ers, but they lost to Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago. They beat the Jaguars 20-0. They got blown out by the Patriots. They got beaten by the Texans. So in their last 4 games, they've lost 3 of them, and only the Patriots are a playoff team probably out of those 3. And their only win was against the Jaguars. If you go 5 games back, they beat the Saints by 2 at home.
Well, Jaguars and the 49ers. So the 2
Yeah,
and 3 in their
they
last
just
5.
beat
Yeah,
the
I was
49ers.
ignoring the 49ers because I already brought up outside of the 49ers. But the 49ers game, I think, was also because Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt and couldn't throw the damn ball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we also need to talk about, are the Dolphins any good, right? Like they're on a
sure.
7-game win streak,
No,
but
yep.
they haven't played anyone, right? They've beaten the Jets twice. They beat the Texans. They beat who else? The Giants. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Saints, who didn't have a quarterback, who were playing a rookie quarterback who had never played before. The only halfway decent win they had there was against the Ravens. So yeah, I agree that Tannehill hasn't been great, but let's not pretend like the Dolphins are world beaters.
We're not. We're just ripping Steve because he said Ryan Tannehill hadn't played well. But
yeah,
go ahead.
So
Jesse,
yeah. So for me, that's exactly why I'm going to take the Titans. I'm surprised this spread isn't larger, actually, in favor of the Titans. So I really like it. And especially now that the wide receivers in Tennessee are healthy, it really seems like a lock for me to take the Titans. And if we have time after the show, I got a hot take on Tua that I'd like to bring up as well.
All right. Don't forget that, Dan. Write that down. I agree. I think Tennessee wins the game also. I just don't think Ryan Tannehill has played really well. I think the decision-making's not been great. I know the receivers may not be there that he had before, but it still doesn't mean you have to miss a receiver by 10 yards and throw an interception. But I do like Tennessee, and Steve said moxie, which is from the 90s, but they're tough as hell, and that comes from Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel's a really good football coach.
Did I say that, Mike? Did I say that?
Yeah, I didn't disagree with you.
Okay.
I was actually complimenting you there since I just ripped your ass for 5 minutes. So take it. Be nice. All right, so I like Tennessee here. I hope Miami beats Tennessee just because it'll make Steve even more excited about the Colts possibly winning the division. So, and then it won't happen. Dan, what do you think? Miami, Tennessee.
This, for me, this is a tough game to pick. Julio Jones is still on the COVID list, as is outside linebacker Bud Dupree. And Denico Autry was put on there yesterday, one of their key defensive linemen and rotational guys. Other than that, neither team is dealing with any injuries. Miami also has a bunch of guys on the COVID list, but nobody really stands out. Nothing special. So we could basically consider these teams full strength, except for the Titans being without, obviously, Henry, potentially Julio Jones, and Bud Dupree. But I'm going to go with Miami. I know Miami is due for a loss, and I picked them last week to lose to the Saints, and I was sadly confused. Maybe they lose this week, but they're red hot, man, and they started 1-7. No teams made the playoffs after starting 1-7 in NFL history.
A team has made it at 1-6 in a shorter season. You do know that, right?
Yes, sure.
Oh, you do? Who was it?
Semantics.
No, it wasn't semantics. Who was it? You just said yes, sure, you knew, so.
The specifics escape me.
1970, the Cincinnati Bengals, in only their third year, were 1-6, won 7 straight games, won the division at 8-6. They beat the Boston Patriots at the time 45-7 to win the division. I'm curious
if they played as weak of a schedule as Miami has over the past.
They didn't, because
2 months.
They were. Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't a great schedule, to tell you the truth, but and they lost to Baltimore 17-0 in the playoffs. But that was Johnny Unitas, so what the hell?
And
all right,
and I'm gonna go with Miami in this one.
All right, guys, remember, betting.net finds the best promotions, offers, and bonus codes so you don't have to. Head over to their website now to take advantage of things like free bets and matching deposits. Make sure you check out betting.net. All right, guys, what do we got next here? We've got the Baltimore Ravens hosting I almost said are they the Los Angeles Rams now, Steve, or are they St. Louis? I get confused. The Los Angeles Rams. The Ravens are favored, or 3.5-point underdogs, Steve. What do you think? The Ravens need this victory.
So the Rams are giving up 3.5.
Yeah, in Baltimore. And if the Ravens win, they can still win the division.
Oh, it's in Baltimore. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, that's an easy pick. I was trying to bait you into picking it the other way, but
No.
I'm taking the Rams also. I mean, the only thing that worries me is this. Tell me who's playing quarterback this week, and I'll feel much more comfortable. So, Dan?
I'm looking at the injury report right now. Lamar Jackson had a limited practice on Wednesday. He's questionable for Week 17. We'll see. I
don't care about Lamar Jackson. Is Huntley playing?
Yes, and Tyler Huntley. He is still on the COVID list right now. Will settle, but as of right now, he's still on their COVID list.
Who do you like here, Dan?
I'm gonna go with the Rams. It doesn't matter who's playing at quarterback. 3.5 is a nice line. I'm gonna go with
remember this though: with Huntley playing, the Packers didn't cover 3.5. I know
you're not wrong.
Money on the damn thing, but
I'm not sure the Packers are as good as the Rams, though.
Okay, Jesse, what do you think?
Rams, I'm taking the Rams. I'm taking Rams as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Rams also. Let's see here. We will go next to the Denver Broncos at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are favored by 6. Steve, what do you think?
That's the second game I had to pick first.
I know, because you just told me you were going to pick what I picked the whole time, so I figured.
Well, no, it doesn't happen. You have to rotate it around.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you made the rules.
I don't. I just live by the rules.
We didn't have.
I believe you.
There are no rules in this show.
I believe you made the rules last week.
I believe if I make the rules, that means I'm the one that can change them. Correct, Jesse?
Nope.
If it's your show, man, I mean, you're kind of in charge.
51% of the vote to do that.
60% of the time, it works every time. I am going
Sex Panther
from Odeon. I'm going to go with the Chargers here. Denver starting Drew Lock. We know what goes on when Drew Lock's starting at quarterback. It's nothing but a disaster. Teddy Bridgewater didn't practice. He's still in concussion protocol. Ugly. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
All right, Jesse.
Speaking of ugly, man, did you guys see that Chargers game last week?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So I'll have you guys know I'm from San Diego. So I unfortunately was a Chargers fan for most of my life until they left to LA. And this last week was the typical Chargers game. As soon as that line came out at 13.5, I said, "Salam the Texans." And I was watching that. I was watching Red Zone actually with a few of my buddies, and they flipped to that game and they went, "Oh, really surprising score at Texans and Chargers." And all of us just looked at each other because we're from San Diego. We're Chargers fans. Like, there's nothing surprising about this.
It's kind of like
if you're
being a
Chargers
Bengals fan,
you know.
isn't it?
Yeah, it
kind
is.
of like being a Bengals fan. Yeah.
So if there's one thing I've learned about the Chargers, whether they win or lose, it's always a close game. They never blow people out, and they almost never get blown out. And there are some rare instances. So because of that, I'm going to go with the Broncos here. I think win or lose, it's going to be a close game.
All right. Who's left here? Did Jesse start? I'm getting confused with 4 people on here.
Dan, me, and then I think the 2 of you.
Yeah.
Okay, Steve, what do you think? Broncos, Chargers?
I'm going to take Chargers.
I'm going to take the Chargers also. I just think this. I think Drew Lock is horrible. And it's going to be hard to score points. Justin Herbert is above average. I think he can score enough points. I think this ends up being
above average.
27-13 game.
Above average.
I think everybody who is not elite is above average, unless they're average or suck.
I am disgusted by that comment. Jesse, can you talk some sense into this, man? I've been defending Justin Herbert all year. This kid is
Herbert will always be a top
quarterback right now. Right now.
Oh, I mean, technically, if he's top 8, he would be above average. So Mike's not wrong, but that's more semantics than anything.
No,
It is
I don't play
semantics, but I'm
semantics.
disgusted.
I think
And
I
I
think
will
there are
say, I
5
think
elite
a lot of
quarterbacks. That's
I
it.
think a lot of the Chargers' struggles this year has not been because of Herbert. He has struggled in some games, but it's really the defense I think that's let him down, right? I mean, the
Yep.
Texans put up how many points against him last week?
It's
Yeah,
gross.
but they were also missing most of their team on both sides of the ball, weren't they?
Who cares? It's gross.
Davis
You
Mills,
handle-
man,
you're
he's
supposed to
lighting it up.
handle the
Hey,
bad
put it
teams.
like this. This is why I'm taking the Chargers. Davis Mills is a lot better than Drew Lock. Davis
It's a hot
Mills
take.
is not terrible. He is average. Does saying somebody's average really a hot take, Jesse?
No, but I mean to say that Davis Mills is better than Drew Lock it's a little
Drew
spicy.
Lock is absolutely horrible.
Is it spicy, dude?
Mike.
Is it spicy?
Yeah, I mean, Drew
Yeah,
Lock
I
might
mean,
be
Drew
the.
Lock is bad. I agree.
You've got Daniel Jones, Drew Lock. I mean, I can name like 3 quarterbacks that Davis
Dan
Mills is
Kornhauser.
better than.
The Dan Kornhauser. Yeah.
Dan
Mike,
can't throw
I'm-
football.
I'm setting myself up here for a lot of abuse, but don't the Chargers have a Bosa?
Yeah,
They do have a Bosa.
Yeah.
They do have a single.
Well, how the
Bosa,
hell do
yeah.
they have shitty defense when they have a Bosa?
because their
Because they
interior
got 40
defensive
points
linebackers
dropped on
can't
them.
tackle.
You
Yeah.
what, Mike?
And they can't stop the run.
Yes.
They can't stop the run.
Bosa's great at rushing quarterbacks, but
So he's just
I mean,
a
they can't
pass
stop
rusher.
the run.
He's an edge rusher.
He is not
Yeah.
a complete defensive end.
Okay, so I'm good. I don't feel terribly bad, but I thought they had a.
But
Bosa,
even if he
but-
was, the key to
I
stopping
don't
a
care.
run game in the NFL is a middle linebacker and defensive tackles that can keep guys off the linebackers. They
Yeah.
don't have that with the Chargers.
Jesse,
but
I
also-
set myself
Sorry.
up there because every time we start talking about the Chargers, Dan and Mike get into this brutal knockout.
I don't know
debate.
why it's brutal. I
Over-
said that I think Justin
Jesse
Herbert will be a
or
top
over,
10 quarterback for the
Eber.
next 10
Herbert.
years.
Herbert's a developing quarterback.
Hey, let me tell you
Not a
this.
good NFL
Justin
career.
Herbert, and this is the same thing I said about Cam Newton. Everybody made fun of me a few years ago. Same thing I said
don't
about
compare this
he
man to Cam
is
Newton.
a
Don't you
front
do that.
runner.
Don't
Wait a
you
second.
do that.
Cam Newton was an NFL MVP.
I don't give a damn. Don't disrespect.
I guess
Justin
you're right.
I
Herbert
don't
like
think
that,
Justin
man.
Herbert's a front runner.
No,
He is
Lamar
a front
Jackson
runner.
was an MVP.
Wait,
and you think he's
wait a second.
one of the worst?
I don't care
starting
who the MVP is. It's a popularity contest.
yeah, but you also want to talk about where quarterbacks go based on who their coaches are, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who's been coaching up Herbert since he got in the league?
Come on, this guy. Come on, Jesse. Spin some facts, man. Who's
I
coaching
don't
this guy
know.
up?
Wait a second. I don't know who his private coach is. Who is it?
I don't know, right? That's the whole
Because
point, right?
this
Is
is
you
the
look
thing.
at like where guys go, right? Like Andy
Put it like
Reid, right,
this.
had Mahomes, right? Like
Put it like this, though.
you know.
Andy didn't teach Patrick Mahomes anything. Patrick Mahomes' coach was Jeff Christensen. Jeff Christensen's from Illinois, Chicago. Look him up. Jimmy Garoppolo's private coach since he was 14 was him. I mean, all the way through the NFL. The NFL, almost every NFL quarterback has a private quarterback's coach. Almost every college quarterback has a private quarterback's coach. Look up James Urban, who is the quarterback's
don't you
coach
think-
for Lamar Jackson. He
But don't
was
you
a
think who
wide
your
receiver
coach is-
coach in Cincinnati.
Don't you think who your coach is in the NFL makes a big difference? Like Sean McVay made Goff look like a Pro Bowler.
I don't.
Right.
Was it Sean McVay that did, or the guys around him? That damn offensive line and Todd Gurley back then was a bad dude.
I think there was a lot of things, but you look at how he's done now in Detroit, and it's been a completely different story.
It's
Or
Detroit,
look at how Goff did. Look at how Goff did before McVay got there when he had Jeff Fisher, right? I mean,
Yeah, but Jeff
generally-
Fisher ruined everybody.
and
he
even
had.
even the running back was there, even when Fisher was there.
Put it like this: you said who
Todd
the
Gurley was still
quarterback.
there.
The thing is this: when you say who the quarterback coach is, that doesn't really matter. The head coach is what matters, and who his private coach is. So I think Sean McVay is a cool dude who's not going to get in somebody's ass. And there's a lot of run quarterbacks out there that never had anybody yell at them because they've always gotten their way because they were 6'5" and could throw the hell out of the ball. So I think Justin Herbert is a front runner. I watched him in Oregon. That trait never changes. It doesn't. Peyton Manning had that.
Terrible
trait.
take.
Luckily, he got a great defense in Denver and Rex Grossman in a Super Bowl in Chicago. And Peyton Manning's still all-time top 8. And people get mad at me when I say that. But there's a huge divide to me when I watch a Tom Brady or a Joe Montana in a playoff game as opposed to watching Peyton Manning. And the one thing is, the common factor here is, Tom Brady will get pissed off. But you almost never see him drop his shoulders and hang his head. Peyton Manning would do that if he threw an interception in the first quarter. Justin Herbert does the same thing. Body language is huge for quarterbacks because everybody on your team feeds off of you. And if your body language goes to hell, you're usually going to lose the game. I mean, that's it. I think Herbert is a hell of a talent. I mean, but the difference between Burrow, and we brought this up before, Burrow played the Ravens the week after Herbert did the first time. Herbert threw for like 150 yards and 3 or 4 interceptions, and after the game said, I couldn't figure out what they were doing. Burrow's first game against them the next week in Baltimore, he scores like 41 points. He throws for 400 and some yards, and after the game, he said, they didn't give me nothing I didn't expect. My thing is this. Aaron Rodgers sees things. Joe Montana saw things. Tom Brady sees things that nobody else sees. Joe Burrow does also. So when you give me crap there, I will take Rodgers and Brady 1-2, Mahomes 3. Right now, I think Burrow is 4. I don't think there's anybody below him better.
You'll take Mahomes 3?
Right now, it would be stupid not to, just because of the career he's had. He could possibly be one of 3 Super Bowls. But I can tell you this, if you gave me a choice to have either one on my team, I will take Burrow. He sees things. Mahomes still has a tendency on short balls to throw the ball too hard. He doesn't read short defenses great. And teams that go and run show coverage give him problems, which is why he's always had difficulties when he played New England. And the thing is, that is what New England did to Herbert last year when they beat him 45-0. They did it to him this year when they beat him. The Ravens did it to him, and the kid still hasn't figured it out. I think he's a great talent. I think he's a top 10 quarterback. He might be top 5. But he's not going to be a guy that is just like, boom, he's going in the Hall of Fame. And I don't think the Chargers will ever win a Super Bowl with him.
I'm going to say 2 things before I think, unless anyone has something else to say about Herbert or whatever, we should move on. 2 things. 1, about Mahomes. I just want it to be known. I'm putting together a little stat sheet of things that all 3 of us have said over the course of the season, predictions we've made, things that we've said.
Hey, Dan, are you married?
I am not married, no.
You got a girlfriend?
I do not know.
Okay, that's why you have time to do that. Go ahead.
I have so much time, boys. So much time. So, all right. So I'm watching every single episode, at the whole show, every show.
You're really bored. I've done this show for 7 years. I've never watched an episode.
What can I say? I love me some me.
Right? I never know what kind of stupid shit I'm going to say.
So I'm going through all the episodes, and I'm jotting down notes, and I'm writing down predictions, things we've said.
So what have you learned so far, Dan?
I've learned a lot. I don't want to spoil it because I have the whole sheet. I'm going to separate it for the 3 of us. And next week, once we're done making picks, I'm going to go through those predictions, things we've said, hard stances that each one of us have made. And we're going to talk about them. We're going to go through them. We're going to laugh. We're going to praise one another for different things we've said. And spoiler alert, Mike, there's a few things that you've said over the course of the season that I've laughed at that I thought were foolish. And there's a few things that you've said that have come to fruition and aren't crazy, aren't laughable. And I'm excited to talk about them next week. But
well, how about this? Last year, Steve, when I told everybody Tyler Huntley I thought was better than Lamar Jackson, everybody made fun of me. Now when I say that, people just look at me and say, maybe.
I'm one of those people that does not agree with that at all.
Hey, wait till Tyler Huntley goes somewhere else.
But the fact that
whether you agree with it or not,
Mike did Tyler. I just remember Huntley.
Yeah, Mike. Whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter. You know, I just say this: quarterbacks, and I'm a fan of Peyton Manning's, but my loyalty doesn't lie with Peyton Manning. My loyalty lies with the Indianapolis Colts. I don't really care who's quarterbacking the Colts. That's my guy. And as long as he can get the Colts on the winning end of games, I'm thrilled to death. So it can be Manning, it can be Luck, it can be Wentz, it can be Rivers, it can be Jacoby Brissett. It can be – did I say that right this time, Mike?
You did. It was the first time in show history you didn't say Jacoby Brisket.
Brisket. There you go.
And I didn't want to run out and fire up my smoker and fix a brisket.
We're actually having beef brisket for dinner tonight. So
are you fixing it?
But my loyalty lies with the Colts, not with Peyton Manning or anything.
I don't know what that has to do with any of this.
Well, you shouldn't get wrapped around the axle about quarterbacks and look at the dynasty of these football programs and the coaches who can build organizations and replace quarterbacks with another quarterback and keep franchise doing it. Belichick, well, he hadn't had to do it. and he's trying to do it right now for the first time. So I'm more enamored by seeing what coaches can do when players move in and out, personnel moves in and out, especially the quarterback position.
And I think the thing is, with Belichick in the playoff hunt already, it kind of gives us an example. But that's why when I name my top 3 coaches I've ever seen, Joe Gibbs has to be in the top 3. He won a Super Bowl with 3 different kind of quarterbacks on the same team. He wins with Doug Williams, Joe Theismann, and Mark Rippon, and none of those guys were great. My point is this. None of those 3 guys were great quarterbacks.
Good point.
He still won. Did everybody pick Denver Chargers?
We did, but hold on. Let me finish. So this is the first time with him saying that Mahomes is a top 3 quarterback.
I'm 53. I'm at the pee at some point. We're like an hour in.
So hold on. This is the first time this whole season that Mike has given Mahomes the respect that he deserves and put him.
I disagree, Dan. He's always given Mahomes respect.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. And we'll talk about it next week because I have the amount of weeks.
Ask Ma where the meatloaf is and go get a piece.
No. The amount of weeks that this man tried to sugarcoat Pat Mahomes and say that he wasn't quite right.
I don't recall
because he wasn't quite right. He was 3-4, Dan.
Mahomes, I don't want to hear
Mahomes is just now coming into a semblance of his great self.
So you're telling me, Dan,
look at those scores when they were 3-4, though, Mike. Right? I mean, the defense was not holding up their end of the bargain.
Thank you,
and
Jesse.
Look at his stats; they were nothing like what it had been before.
Yeah, but if you watch half of the interceptions, it was like off dudes' hands.
Thank you. That's what he says about Joe Burrow.
Yeah, but
Joe Burrow throws the passes off a receiver's hands. That's the
Joe
only
Burrow hadn't thrown an interception in 3 or 4 weeks. But
Jesse, Michael addressed this too because I've sat there and I was a quarterback in high school. I had a quarterback coach for my son. He coached played at Wittenberg University, which is a D3 college. Mahomes' mechanics went to shit. And
early in the season, they were
sidearm throwing crap and this underhanded throwing, and he started relying on that. That's okay to do when it's out of necessity, but Mahomes started relying on that, and I've watched that kid throughout the progression of this season because I have NFL tickets, so I can watch any game I want every Sunday. He has worked himself out of that to where his mechanics are as close to back to where he was 2 years ago as I've seen. I give Mahomes credit for and whoever's working with him right now, just to get his mechanics back in order.
Yeah, this is the thing. When you look at it, there's a lot of 57, 60% completion. He was a guy that for the season was about 70% at one point. Now, he's going to end up probably about 70% again because he's tearing it up right now. And the thing is this, he didn't have a defense 3 years ago when they went to the AFC Championship game, and he was playing better than what he did the first 7 games of the season. And, I mean, the first 7 games of the season, the way he played, he was still a top 10 quarterback. But when he plays the way he does now, he's as good as anybody.
Yeah.
I just want to also say that's the first time I have to check, but at least that might be the first time he said all season that Pat Mahomes is one of the top 10 quarterbacks, and I'm so excited he said
top
that. But
10?
my second point.
Wait. Have I ever said he wasn't?
All year.
Yo,
let's move on.
Mike has said some reckless things about Pat Mahomes, and we will. I have the receipts, and we will go over them next week. No time.
Really?
You should.
Wait a second. We're not going to do that show anyways because you're going to rip me and Steve, and you're not going to bring up any dumbass thing you said.
Oh no! Don't be confused. There's a reason I am in third place.
Jesse, you want to do a show next week, just you and me?
I've said some foolish things.
Great,
believe me.
You don't want to do that, Jesse. You don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
It'll end up being a Colts preview show. All right, but everybody pick the Denver Chargers.
My point about this game before we move on is the Chargers defense has allowed the second most points in the AFC. So don't put it all on Herbert. Their defense is butt. Jesse is right. Let's move on.
And
let's move on.
I mean, they let Rex Burkhead run for over 100 yards.
Rex Burkhead is pretty damn good, though.
He's 32.
He's pretty damn good. Yeah, but Rex Burkhead is a guy that would have been really good if Marvin Lewis would have let him play. The great thing about that, he was in Cincinnati for like 4 or 5 years. They didn't start him until the last game of his career against the Ravens. The last game of his career against Bengals Ravens. And Rex Burkhead ran for like 130 yards and a couple touchdowns.
I don't disagree. I think Rex Burkhead's good. He's also 31. Right, like show me running backs that are good after 28. You know, they're few and far between.
There are almost none. Walter
Yeah.
Payton. That's the only name that comes into my head is Walter Payton. All right. Did everybody pick Denver Chargers?
Yeah, we're
Yep.
good.
All right. Houston at San Francisco. San Francisco's favored by 15. To me, this is a hard game to pick, Jesse, just because of the points.
Yeah, I mean, I had Houston at 12.5 when I looked at them earlier, and I was still taking Houston because, like you guys said, I mean, you have your spicy takes about Davis Mills here. I think he's halfway decent. And, yeah, I mean, I think San Francisco generally looks to grind out games. They love running the football. They're not the team that goes in there and high flies it and just lets it rip and puts up points. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not picking Houston to win in another big upset here, but I think they've looked decent all year. They've covered a lot of spreads when they aren't supposed to, and they've surprised a lot of people. So I'm taking Houston to cover this one.
All right, Steve.
All right. Well, I'm reading this, Mike, and you've got Houston at San Francisco plus 15.
Yeah, I know. It's backwards, Steve. Sue me.
All right.
Minus
so it's
15.
All right. Well,
Jeez.
I wanted to clarify. I don't know that San Francisco can cover 15 points on this.
Yeah.
Is my concern. I think they're going to win the game, but this is not a pick I want to make before Mike does. No, it's not, because I'm not as smart as Mike. Shit. Shoot.
Is
Are
it
we not
shit
supposed
or
to cuss
shoot?
on the show?
Well, he's not supposed to use the Lord's name in vain. That is the only thing he's told he can't say. But he still feels bad when he says
stopped
shit.
doing that.
You did it once last week.
Once last week. Okay, I slipped my tongue. 4 years of Bobby Knight will do that to you.
Yeah, let's change that. Let's change this to 12.5.
It's 12.5 now.
Yeah, because I got 3 different sites. One says 13, the other 2 say 12.5.
We're going with 12.5.
Yeah.
Sorry for mentioning that, guys. That's my bad. I didn't mean to bring that
Don't
up.
worry about it.
Damn it, Jesse.
Yeah, but
it's all
Jesse
my
wanted
fault.
the 15 instead of the 12.5.
I wanted the 15,
I-
man, because I'm taking Houston. I loved him at 15.
I think that there's a better chance of San Francisco covering this spread than there is of Houston winning this game. So I'm going to go with San Francisco.
Huh? Okay. Dan.
I'm going to go with Houston, and the main reason is because Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. I know all season.
Oh, wait a minute. He's hurt? No, you didn't tell me that before I made my pick.
Everybody knows that.
I do not know that.
Steve.
Just flip
Well,
a coin
listen.
and he'll be hurt.
He's
Is
hurt.
he out for the game? This is for sure.
All right,
Dude,
so
he's
listen.
out for the season, probably.
He's got a torn UCL in his right thumb, which is important. It's his
Oh,
throwing
that's right.
hand.
He broke his thumb too, didn't he, or something?
I don't know about that. But the last quarterback who had this kind of an injury was Drew Brees in 2019. He missed 5 games. Matt Stafford also dealt with it in 2020, and he missed some time. He played through it, but he wasn't quite right.
Okay, then I'm going to make a legitimate petition to the committee if I could change my pick, given the fact that I did not have this knowledge when I made my pick. That I just did not know that.
You could make the appeal to the committee after every pick that you do not have any knowledge, and we would have to let you.
You got no
have
love
it.
for Trey Lance or what?
Yeah, come on,
Listen.
you got Trey Lance.
I think
Well, I
like
have love for Trey Lance. I think he can win the game, but I don't know that Trey Lance can cover 12.5 points. So
I like
the
Trey
committee-
Lance.
The committee
I don't think
rule,
he can do it.
Trey Lance
That-
is not very good, but go ahead.
Dan and Mike, you guys got a rule whether I can change my pick or not.
Oh, I don't get a choice? I'm just kidding, Steve.
You're new, all right? Chill out, Jesse.
Just earn your respect, Jesse.
All right,
Jesus.
fair enough.
Yeah,
I'll
Steve's
respect my
trying.
elders. That's my bad.
What do you think, Dan? Should we let him change his pick?
We haven't allowed it all season. I don't think we should allow it now.
Precedent.
I agree. Precedent is strong. I take precedent. I made the pick. I stand by it.
Okay, because
No,
I was going to actually let you change your pick.
No, precedent is important. If you don't have precedent, you get wacky law decisions made like crazy.
And
So
see, the thing is, we have this written down, and I can flip my light on and
No,
find it.
no, I
because
agree.
It's
I just-
official, too, because it's a piece of white paper that says you
petitioned-
can't change your bet
I
every
did not
time you
demand
try.
it. I petitioned the court for a, but then
I don't even
when
remember
Chris-
who you picked by now, Steve.
I
You
picked
went
Houston.
Sanford.
I picked Houston.
You
So
picked
wait,
Houston.
Shut up, Jesse.
Mike,
You're not helping me any
Mike,
here.
So who'd you pick? Who'd you
I
pick,
picked
Steve?
San Francisco. I took San Francisco on the points. I will
Okay.
stand by that pick
Okay.
because I don't want to break precedent.
Am I the only one that haven't picked this game? Because
You're the only one.
it scares me. Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, they cause really bad matchups for any team, really. I don't trust Trey Lance. I think he's more of a runner than he is a passer. The other thing that scares me here is Houston doesn't have too many wins, so they're probably still celebrating winning last week. They've got to go all to the West Coast. So how about this, Steve? This is why I was going to let you change your pick. I'm going to take the Niners and give the 12.5 points.
Damn.
Woo!
Okay.
Don't say.
I just, when I look at this is a team going West Coast. This is a team that, is playing against a team trying to make the playoffs. They just won basically their playoff game for a while. Usually teams that win a couple games at the end of the season don't win them back-to-back unless they are teams that are on the precipice of being really good the next year. And that is not the Houston Texans.
Yeah, but they don't have to win. They just have to not lose by 2 touchdowns.
Let me ask you.
But what I'm saying is this: I think they're going to get their doors blown off.
All right. There you go.
I think you're looking at like 28-10.
Okay.
Let me ask you, rocket scientists, this, and I mean it in all sincerity. How much does Houston, or when does Houston start playing for draft pick position?
I think nobody ever plays for draft pick position.
Do you not? Okay.
No.
Who's going to play
players?
lose?
Well, I'm
players are playing
counting
for
on
their jobs.
Jacksonville doing it against the Colts.
Well, they're not going to, because this is the thing. No
it's not the
grown-ass
NBA.
man is going to play trying to lose. Because number one...
No, but they're not going to
the
try
guy-
as hard as they can to win.
Yeah, they
Yeah, they
will.
will.
I would. I would die to beat you at anything, Risley. Seriously.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the way I was raised, but if I'm playing, my kids ain't ever beat me at nothing yet. You can ask them, and they're 19 and 21. Because ain't nobody allowed to beat me. I remember this. It took me to love my dad until I was like 15 to beat my dad in basketball. And he threw the ball down and said, we ain't never playing again. The thing I learned was this. If you're going to win, you earn it. Anybody that'll lay down because they want a draft pick, that's the problem with their organization to begin with.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, front offices tank, players and coaches don't tank.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well,
So I don't even
and
know.
you know,
the front
Mike,
offices.
therein lies the difference there. One of the differences between you and I, and I'll just spit it out. I have this corner in my house that's stocked full of basketballs, rings, watches, trophies,
Do you want me to show you mine?
jerseys. Well, I'm sure you, but anytime I need to pat myself on the back and say,
I
still
don't
that
have to
competitive.
pat myself on the back. I just hate to fucking lose. How about that?
I gave up that when I spiked the volleyball, sand volleyball, at our apartment complex one time, and broke a really good-looking girl's nose because I hated to lose in
Oh, no.
co-ed sand volleyball. I mean, I Martha Brady'd her ass like there's no
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Large.
Did you
Great
stand
reference.
over top
Great
of her
reference.
and point at her and say, there, just
No,
stay
but I
down
turned
there.
around and walked away and
Flex
didn't
on
go
it.
see how she was doing.
See, you know what I
You
never
know.
did? I never played sports with girls.
Yeah, well,
You were the girl.
Yeah,
maybe
not
there's
about
another
it.
one of your problems.
Why? Because I don't play sports with girls?
You
Yeah.
were the girl.
Well, I wouldn't want to hurt a girl. You
Yeah.
obviously
You're the
didn't
lady.
care. All right. Next up, Carolina
If
at
you're
New-
talking about the female athlete who was just named female athlete of the year for the second year,
Hey, we're not going to get into this.
WNBA basketball
We're
player.
not gonna, oh,
You're
yeah.
not going to bust your buns trying to beat her in one-on-one?
I don't think I'd have to bust my buns to beat her one-on-one.
Oh, I think you would.
I don't think so.
I think she'd clean your clock.
Whatever. Dude, she
All
should
right.
play in the NBA. All right, next up. We're not going to get into this discussion, Steve. This
All
is
right.
not 1980, no matter how bad we want it to be. I love Candace Parker. All right, next up, Carolina at New Orleans. The Saints are favored by 7. This is an ugly game. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints. I think the Panthers are close. I don't see why they would fire Rule because he's got such a long contract, Jesse. But even Ian Book, Alvin Kamara is still going to play. I hate the 7 points, though. What do you think I should do here,
Hey,
Steve?
Vino.
I hate picking games before Steve. I'm going to go with the Saints at home and hope Alvin Kamara runs for 300 yards. Jesse?
Yeah, Sam Darnold's getting the start in this one, which does not make me
Yep.
feel good about Carolina.
There's no
whereas-
quarterback that Carolina has that would make you feel good.
That's a good point.
You're not
Yeah.
wrong.
You're not wrong there. But I do like Vanilla Vick, man. I'm a big Taysom Hill fan. I think
Yes.
he's pretty good when everybody's healthy. And New Orleans really is based around their defense. I see Carolina having a tough time put up points. I like New Orleans to win this one by more than a touchdown. So give me New Orleans.
I like Taysom Hill as a football player.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to like air it out, right? But I think Peyton's a smart enough coach. He knows how to use Taysom Hill.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Sean Payton's one of the best coaches in the league. Steve.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I'm going to take New Orleans, so don't worry about it.
I'm gonna take New Orleans as
I had
well.
already underlined that pick, Mike. So
Yep.
Okay,
I'm gonna
you're
take New
underlining
Orleans
it right now, Steve. All right, Dan's
No.
taking them also.
I'm
Yeah.
writing down
Next
the next game.
Next up, Dan, get this. You ever hear anything this funny? I'm a Bengals fan. You're a Chargers fan. Dan's a Lions fan. The Lions at the Seahawks. The Seahawks.
Why would you say Dan get this? I think you meant Jesse get
Yeah,
this.
Jesse, get this. Whatever. What the hell? I forget things, all right? You used to be allowed to hit quarterbacks after the play. You used to be able to hit them in the head. Detroit at Seattle. Seattle's -6.5, Dan.
I'm gonna go with Seattle. Detroit has played hard all year, and it's worth talking about because I'm used to watching Detroit teams that committed stupid penalties, did dumb things on the field, messed up their assignments on defense, and just overall failed on the football field. So it's nice to see, even though the Lions are arguably the worst team in the league, it's nice to see them put in some effort. It's nice to see them not just roll over and die and suck. That being said, they do suck. Jared Goff did not practice on Wednesday. He's questionable with a knee injury, just coming off a COVID list as well. All kinds of tomfoolery. Russell Wilson's playing. All bets are off. I know DeAndre Swift is coming back for the Lions. He was a full participant, but nah, I'm going to go Seattle.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, one quick question. Dan, you took New Orleans, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I agree with anything you guys have said. The big question here is this Wilson's last game as a Seahawk?
Ooh, that's
got
a
at least
very
one
good
more.
question.
I don't think there's any way it is, Steve. I think he'll play next week, too.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
okay.
yeah.
Well, last home game. I'm sorry.
I got
last
you.
home game.
I was just trying to be funny. It doesn't work sometimes.
I apologize for whatever. Why am I apologizing?
I don't know. I think this. I think if I was Russell Wilson, I'd want to get the hell out of there and get to New Orleans as fast as I can.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a good place for him to go, for sure.
Right.
I'm going to take Seattle.
Seattle.
All right, Jesse.
I guess I will go the opposite way here. I'm actually liking Detroit, especially if Goff plays. And I think the biggest thing there is Swift as well. Seattle has not looked great, especially since Russell came back from his injury.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost to Chicago last week. So I think I'm not saying Detroit's going to win this one, but I think if Seattle wins it, it's going to be a closer game than 6.5 points.
Yeah, I don't think any of this has to do with Russell Wilson not playing well either. I think the offensive line is terrible. Rashad Penny's playing pretty well. I'm going to go with Jesse here. I'm going to go with Detroit. I mean, we just watched Seattle lose to Chicago. Detroit has played much better the last few weeks. And even though his decision-making on Thanksgiving was absolutely sickening, I would bring Campbell back if I was the Lions front office. What do you guys think?
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. If they went, had one win in a 17-game season, I'd say probably fire him because this ain't going anywhere. But the team plays hard. I've noticed a difference.
They're 2-12, but they could easily. Sorry, they're 2-12-1. My bad. They could easily have 5 or 6 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, if a couple of those fourth quarters went the other way.
Wait a second. Jesse's new. So we always have this conversation because Steve and Dan do this.
Okay.
The thing is, every NFL team has 5 or 6 games they could have won.
What I'm saying is the Detroit Lions haven't always had those games where they could have had 5 or 6 wins. Right? Like in the past.
2008,
if we're talking about coaches, right? I think you look at a coach who's taking a team in the right direction, and it's Dan Campbell. Right, and you can't say that about every rookie coach or even not rookie coaches like Rule in Carolina.
And I think in the end, the issue in Detroit, I don't know that it's ever been the coaching. I think it's the front office and the Ford family. I mean, they're a mess. You could say the same thing about Cincinnati. You could say the same thing about San Diego when they were the San Diego Chargers with Spanos.
Yeah, I mean, he's still there and he's still terrible. So
yeah, but luckily or unluckily, you can't fire owners. All right, we got all those in. Everybody got their picks. Let's see. Next up, last game of the week. Minnesota at Green Bay. Jesse, Green Bay is a 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah. So I think who is it? Who just got shut down for the season? Dan, help me out. The wide receiver for the Vikings. I'm blanking on his name.
Oh, Thielen?
Yeah,
Thielen.
Thielen. Thielen's done for the season. I think that's going to be a big blow to Minnesota. But I do think they're getting Dalvin Cook back this week, right?
Yes, that is correct.
That's going to help a lot, but I still think playing in Green Bay, it's going to be too tough for them, especially without Thielen. I'm taking Green Bay to cover the 6.5.
Yeah, this spread actually scares me. Minnesota did beat them just a few weeks ago, too. Steve?
I'm going to go with the Packers.
Dan?
I'm going to go with the Packers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers. If this was 7, though, if it makes any sense to you, Jesse, I would go with the Vikings. I mean, if that's at 7 or 7.5, it changes a lot of things to me.
I think it's right on that border for me, too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary spread because Minnesota, I think the stat, hadn't Minnesota beaten Green Bay like 4 of the last 6 times in Lambeau?
Yeah, they're kind of like the Saints are to the Bucs almost.
Yeah, except for in the playoffs where the Saints can't beat the Bucs. But let me remind you, your top sportsbook comparison site or sportsbook comparison site, betting.net, offers extensive reviews on the best sportsbooks out there. This show's went so long that I got to pee and I can't talk. All right, Jesse had a hot take on Tua.
Tua, yeah. So this is a halfway facetious take. So if you don't like it, you can give me a break on it. But my hot take on Tua is he'll never be a good quarterback for a very simple reason. That simple reason is that he's left-handed.
I can tell you this. What about Steve Young?
Go ahead and give me like your top 3 left-handed quarterbacks.
Well, I can do that. The problem is this. What I remember was, you remember when NFL Films did all the top 10s of all time?
Yeah.
You know, they did their top 10 countdown, and they did left-handed quarterbacks. And Mark Brunell would be in there. I think I could give you 8 or 9. The problem, when they got to 10, they brought in somebody that I actually coached with, Jared Lorenzen. No, Jared Lorenzen was 10.
Yeah, the hefty lefty.
What are you shaking your head for there, Dan?
Jared Lorenzen, yuck.
Really?
Mike, wasn't Bobby Douglas left-handed?
I think so. Why do you say yuck about Jared Lorenzen? Because he's a 10th ranked or 10th highest passing yardage leader in NCAA history?
I hate it.
Dan? Dan?
You're breaking up here, Dan.
Dan?
I lost him.
Damn. Yeah, he went yellow. We'll pull him and then bring him back. See what happens.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay, he's back. No, kind of.
No?
Hey.
Dan? Yeah.
Okay, welcome back.
So what's your issue with Jared Lorenzen, who has a Super Bowl ring and you don't?
The Pillsbury throw boy. I don't want to talk about Jared Lorenzen. He's not one of the top 10 left-handed quarterbacks.
Actually, I think
name 10 other left-handed quarterbacks that are better, Dan.
Okay, Steve Young, Boomer Esiason, Michael Vick, Mark Brunell,
that's 4.
Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow was not better than Jared Lorenzen. That's absolute. Chris Sims was not better.
Are you going Matt Leinart?
Dude, you don't even know about Jared Lorenzen.
Bro.
What do you know about Jared Lorenzen?
I know about Jared Lorenzen. The Pillsbury throw boy went to Kentucky,
keep it
played for the Giants.
6.
He's ass.
You got 6
He's
here.
ass.
Give me 4 more. Yeah. See, I rest my case.
Wait.
He's
hold
ass.
on. Hold on. What were the 6 that I said?
Oh my God, we're gonna have to run this back.
No, we're not going to run it back. We counted 6.
No.
Do you have any more?
All right. Steve Young, Boomer Esiason, Michael Vick, Mark Brunell, Tim Tebow.
No, there's no way Tim Tebow was a better quarterback than Jared Lorenzen.
Tim Tebow's got a playoff win against the Steelers. I don't want to hear about Jared Lorenzen.
Fuck you.
Matt Leinart.
I've had about enough of your shit. You don't have a
Chris
clue
Sims.
what the fuck you're talking about.
I don't know if we can really put Matt Leinart
you
on
sound foolish. Who's Jared Lorenzen? What are we talking about? Why are we even talking about Jared Lorenzen?
Because we brought up 10, I used the story how the NFL Network ranked him the 10th best ever, and he was a lot better quarterback than Tim Tebow. And if you put Jared Lorenzen in Denver, they may have won more than one playoff game. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks there.
Hey, I got one.
He's getting the paper out. He's writing this down.
You guys should
write it down.
That's a hot
You
take.
should get this one too. Who may be the best left-handed quarterback.
I can tell you this also. Well, Steve Young was the best left-handed quarterback.
Well, okay, second best next to him. Kenny Stabler.
We said Stabler, but Stabler's probably not second. Mark Brunell was probably better.
Michael Vick. Where does Michael Vick fit in this?
I don't know. Throw the dogs out.
He's
see what
definitely
happens.
top 10. on the football field.
Yeah.
Jim Zorn. What about Jim Zorn?
Jim Zorn.
Oh, yeah, Jim Zorn. So Steve
Scott
looked it up.
Mitchell for Detroit.
Scott
he just
Mitchell was
Googled-
not better than Jared Lorenzo.
Did Steve, did you Google left-handed quarterbacks? Is that what happened?
Hell yeah, you're right. I did.
All right. Yeah, my point is, right, like
I'm going to know all those people off the top of my head.
there's probably, 100 quarterbacks that played in the NFL this year? Just with all the guys
Yeah.
that have out, missed time, whatever. What are the chances that literally one of them is left-handed, right? Like, I don't know. Like, you tell me,
one.
Mike, because you're
a left-handed quarterback.
No,
The
I
biggest-
just mean because you coached football and you
Yeah.
still coach football.
Well, the
Is
only
it
left-handed.
that? Is
Yeah.
it that like? Is it that out? Because you would just think statistically there'd be more left-handed quarterbacks.
How about this? It's hard to coach a left-handed quarterback.
You have to flip
All
your
right,
playbook,
because-
or is that
well,
why?
This
or-
is the thing. No, you don't have to flip your playbook because actually, if I have a right-handed quarterback, most of my throws are going to the left because it's easier to make the throw to the left than it is to the right. Because when you rotate your hips, you get your entire body into the throw. You have to generate your own power.
I get that. I mean more so like rolling out.
I've only coached one left-handed quarterback, and that was Jared Lorenzo. He was the best quarterback that I have ever been around. I've been in the NFL camps with a lot of quarterbacks, and a lot of them were starters. Jared had issues beyond the football field. But I can tell you this. The bad thing about him was I was his good luck charm. Before every game, I had to go out and warm up with him on an arena football field with a bunch of people watching while he threw the ball 90 miles an hour at my ass from 15 yards away. It was not a lot of fun, but it was kind of cool when, he let me wear a Super Bowl ring since I did it. But left-handed quarterbacks, the other big thing is if you're a wide receiver, the ball spins the opposite direction. It doesn't seem like a big deal. But literally, if you get a Lorenzen, anybody, Matt Leinart, Tim Tebow throwing the ball at you from 20 yards away, that ball's coming 60, 70 miles an hour. The opposite rotation can throw you off big time. But I think the other thing is there's a lot of quarterback coaches that have a hard time because they're all right-handed teaching a left-handed quarterback how to do it. And it's a real pain in the ass when you do it if you're right-handed. Plus, I think right-handed people are probably just generally smarter, which makes me think Dan's probably left-handed. Go ahead.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting just because you look at a sport like baseball where lefties overperform, right? In a game like baseball, right? It's you see more left-handed people than in life, right?
Yeah,
but
but
you look
in
at
baseball, though,
sure.
isn't that kind of what it is? Because you're throwing from a different angle than what most people are used to. Because even when you're growing up in Little League,
but not
there's
even
not
just
many
pitchers,
left-handed pitchers.
Yeah, but not even just pitchers. I mean, hitters too, right? Like left-handed hitters are overrepresented, compared to the population. So it's funny that in football you see left-handed quarterbacks underrepresented. And so that's my hot take on why Tua will never be a great NFL quarterback.
How about this? Don't you think that makes it so, since so much value is put on a left-handed pitcher, that maybe because most quarterbacks were pitchers. Don't you think maybe that's why the left-handed guys kind of gravitate towards baseball? You don't have to be as good a left-handed pitcher as a right-handed pitcher does. They just want the left-hander to get the matchups.
I think at certain levels, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like boxing. Why is heavyweight boxing in the States dropped off? It's because most of your guys now, they're 6'5", 6'6", and weigh 240 pounds and are great athletes, go play tight end for the Dallas Cowboys because it pays better. You don't get your brains beat in all the time.
I mean, you still get your brains beat in. But...
It's not the same as boxing, though.
No, it's not. It's not.
Put it like this. I've been on a football field, and I've been in a boxing ring, and one's a lot more scarier than the other.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there.
Especially when you got to wear shorts, and if you get your ass whipped, everybody knows it. I think that we should have a YouTube fight between Steve and Dan.
It's not fair. He's like
Pay-per-view?
6'5". I'm only 5'10".
Steve's like 6'8", dude.
Jesus, it's even worse.
Plus, Steve's actually played competitive sports. He didn't run track.
Hey, track is a sport.
I mean, contact sports.
Fair.
But, all right, Dan, did you have something you wanted to bring up real quick?
No, honestly, I was going to bring up a bunch of stuff, but we kind of touched on everything as we went through the show. So, no, I'm good.
All right, Jesse, who should be the NFL MVP in your opinion?
Oof. I say this is the year where we mix it up and we give it to a non-quarterback, and let's go Cooper Kupp. I mean, the dude's like lighting it up and going every record for wide receivers here. I mean, I say why not, right? Like great. You could give it to Brady. You can make an argument for Rodgers, whatever. I don't think any of those guys are doing anything that they haven't done before or anything that quarterbacks haven't done before. Cooper Kupp is doing something that wide receivers haven't done before. So I say this is the year where it's not just the best quarterback award, it's the best player award. I think the best player in football this year has been Cooper Kupp.
Steve, agree or disagree?
Hard to disagree. I mean, I like his thought process to get away from a quarterback for a year. But I don't think Jonathan Taylor's going to get it, although I think he's as deserving as anybody. But Cooper, Kupp has just been clutch 100% of the time all season long. Hard not to give it to him.
Yeah, I know when I wrote my article, the top 5 guys that should be up for the MVP right now, Cooper Kupp was 3, Jonathan Taylor was 4. I went with Rodgers, Brady 1 or 2 because they're going to give it to Rodgers or Brady.
Yeah.
But I think people are sleeping on Cooper Kupp because everybody's falling. Because Jonathan Taylor had the big game against New England. But when you look at Cooper Kupp's stats, he's only had 1 game under 90 yards receiving. And, I mean, what's he's got right now, like 1,600 or 1,700 yards receiving, Jesse?
Yeah, something stupid like that. And I mean, it gets crazier the longer you go into the season because it's not a secret anymore that the ball's going to go to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, right now, he's the best receiver in football.
Yeah.
And
I don't think anybody disagrees with that at all.
Dan,
Oh,
what do
yeah,
you think?
he's the best receiver this year, that's for sure. But the MVP for me is Aaron Rodgers. He's only thrown 1 pick in the last 8 weeks. It's hard to go against that, and all they do is win.
Really? Because I think that what Jesse said there is, I don't know that we've seen a wide receiver put up numbers like this, have we, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, the guys, I just pulled it up. I mean, he's got 132 receptions for over 1,700 yards on the season. Both of those are going to be leading the NFL and, I mean, leading all-time wide receivers. So it's just, I mean, it's insane what he's doing, really.
Now, to me, the case for Aaron Rodgers is he may be more valuable than Jonathan Taylor because Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. And he may be more valuable than Cooper Kupp because you still got a really good team there. If you put Jordan Love as a starting quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, if they're lucky, they're battling the Minnesota Vikings for first place in a 500 record this weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would be that lucky.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, if it comes down to, pure value, then yeah, I think you got to go Rodgers, right? But, if you're looking at, I don't know, if it's a who's the best player in the league award at their position and who's doing stuff that's never been done before,
well,
like I said, I like Kupp.
But Jesse, isn't it fair to say there's 2 different things between being the best player in the league and the most valuable player in the league?
Yeah.
I mean, those are 2 different awards. Best offensive player, who knows? That goes one direction possibly. Most valuable to his team. Hell, like I said,
if that's the case, though, I mean, I think Derrick Henry should have won this award a few times, right? When
yeah,
you want to talk about
and I was just getting ready to say, you may throw Tannehill in the mix then, and Mike's going to blister me.
Why would you
I
do
don't know
that?
about that.
Last year,
Just because I think he kept the Titans winning when Derrick Henry went down.
No. Mike Vrabel kept the Titans winning and the defense improving.
Right. But somebody's got to be
once
on
again,
the
it's
field
not Tannehill's
executing.
fault. But I'm
Execution
sorry.
is important.
I think anybody that would think Ryan Tannehill is the MVP
No, I
of the
said
league should
I
be
did not.
executed.
Don't think it. I said you might throw him in there, but it's just an example of the fact that when you say most valuable to his team, doesn't have to be the most outstanding offensive or defensive player.
I think it's supposed to be the most valuable player in the league.
Well, then that to me that differs from the best offensive or the best defensive player in the league.
All right.
Those are different awards.
All right. I'll say this. We got to wrap this up because, Steve, your wife will be putting you to bed soon here at the old folks' home. And I would leave it with this, Steve. Really go look at Tannehill's stats. I like Tannehill.
No, I know.
think he's a good
I'm
quarterback.
aware of that.
But, I mean, I don't think he's played well. If you look at this, he hasn't thrown more than 1 touchdown pass in a game since he played your Colts in October and threw 3.
He's played well enough to keep his team in first place.
The team has played well enough to stay in first
And
place.
the Colts certainly have played well enough if they hadn't dug a hole for themselves to take it away from him. But
they wouldn't have taken it away if Derrick Henry didn't get hurt.
Yeah, it's terrible.
No, right.
Anyway.
But, ifs and nuts or candies, whatever that.
This is the thing. Derrick Henry is not winning NFL MVP.
I'm not
Derrick
making
Henry or
this
Derrick Henry didn't
anointment of Tannehill. I'm just saying I respect the guy for keeping his team in first place and winning the AFC South. When you got a team as hot as the Colts are right now, and the Colts couldn't get by them, no matter what they did. So I applaud him for just that effort. Be it,
hey, you know what?
Grable certainly.
Hey, the sad thing is we've been using Restream for like a year and a half, and the only person that's ever sent me a message so we knew what was going on was Jesse during the show. So
I had to get the meme in there somehow, man.
hey, guys, we're going to wrap it up, but remember, it's not just sports betting. Betting.net compares the best online casinos. Sit back and relax. Play the top online slots, poker, and table games. You can follow Steve Risley at SRisley34. You can follow Dan at Dan.
DB talking sports. D is in Dan, B is in Bob.
And once again, we want to thank Jesse from coming in from Players Best. Tell everybody where they can find Players Best, which is pretty obvious.
PlayersBest.com. All you need in sports right there.
All right, guys. And me and Steve will be doing an Indiana Basketball Weekly show as soon as
Yes,
they
are you
play
saying
a
you don't
game
need this
again.
show?
Huh?
Not as much as you need PlayersBest.com.
And the Pick'em Show on the Grueling Truth.
And the Grueling True Pick'em Show right there.
He's on the
You
Grueling
gotta have
Pickup
those
show
two.
right now.
Yeah, of course.
Jeez. All right, we're going to wrap this show up because I got to pee. All right, we will see you guys next Wednesday where we can talk about the Bengals beating the Chiefs and then, the little guy with the beard. How tall are you, Dan? Like 5'4"?
I am 5'10".
Okay.
Which means
All
he's
right.
about 5'4".
He's about 5'4". Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks again for Jesse coming in. Make sure you check out playersbest.com. So,
Thanks,
until
Jess.
until
having me,
next
guys.
week, Jesse Cox, Dan Kornhauser, Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends